How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another video. Well, if you're actually developing a game and you're spending your hard-earned life into it, building it, fully funding it yourself, the one thing you probably don't want to do, especially when you're making it multiplat, is offending one of the sides of the platform by basically calling them mediocre, trash, the platform that you enjoy is garbage. You probably don't want to do that. Now, maybe I'm kind of over-exaggerating a little bit, but essentially that is what they have done. Now, a lot of attention has been brought to me about this game called Quantum Error. Now, you may have heard of it, you may not have heard of it, it may have come to limelight, and if you have only just heard of it, just know that you've only heard of it because the developer decided to play console wars. Yes, you've heard that right. They decided to pit the fans against each other to fight over the righteousness of the game in order to get free publicity, and it's probably worked somewhat. But what it has done at the same time is alienated the platform. Now, you've got to be a special kind of developer to be able to do this. And, well, I think their tweets really speak for themselves. Now, I've actually been against the way they've handled their social media for quite some time. And I've actually butted heads a number of times when talking to friends about this who are eagerly excited for this game. And for good measure, the game actually looks decent. The UE4 demo was awful, but they said they've moved to UE5, and from the screenshots that we've seen, it looks decent. It looks okay. Not played it yet, but will I play it? I really don't know at this point because I just don't like the way they've actually handled things. And to me, that's really important because, well, if you want to stoke the flames of console wars just to prop up your game and you can't rely on your game's own merits to actually kind of speak for themselves, you kind of have a problem with me there. Let's get on with it. So, we have this over here. Imagine being a game developer and burning bridges by capping for PlayStation the place where new IPs go to fail. Okay, this is clearly an Xbox fan, right? It has to be. A lie doesn't become truth, followed by Tim Duck, so he's an Xbox fan. Okay, we've established that. So ignore the negativity. At Quantum Error, I guess y'all were some of the ones who believed that Godfall and Ratchet & Clank were only possible on the PS5 SSD as well, until they weren't. Now, they only are bringing the controversy here at the moment is that the Quantum Error developers came out and said that this game it's coming out on the PS5, it's maximizing the utility of the PS5 SSD, and because the Xbox platform or PC cannot compete with the speeds of the PS5 SSD. In fact, I'll prove which it is right now. As you can see here, same thing I said, when you lie about something, it's going to haunt you forever. Now, even though it is a lie, they're going to have it to artificially gimp a portion to make the lie believable. Direct storage on PCI 3.0 beats PS5. This won't age well. Now, Forspoken is the only game right now that we know on PC that does use direct storage. Now, as you can see here, PS5 performance mode loads the game in 4.4 seconds. It's been proven that with PC direct storage enabled Core i9 12900K plus NVMe SSD, it does load it in 4.1 seconds. Now, this one down here is on a SATA SSD, which clearly is slow in today's day and age. This one over here is on an i5 equivalent. This one over here is with direct storage disabled, and it's running at 5.4 seconds. So just under a second slower than the PS5 performance. But with direct storage enabled, it runs at 4.1. And we can see this over here in a much more clearly laid out situation. So we can clearly see now that developers are actively lying when they say PC cannot do this and that they are not fast enough to run this game. So the developers have actually, outright lied to try to console war. Now, when we look at over here, there was a joke that came about from Mihail saying, wow, be careful or Microsoft might buy you. Basically, he was happy with the game. It looked good. They're an indie developer. Being acquired by a big studio might be something good for them, might be something that they want, maybe a way for them to expand their numbers because there's only 4 people working in this studio, right? And they said, can't buy what isn't for sale. Laughing emoji. And then, this happened. At Quantum Error, your studio should become part of Sony's PlayStation Studios. It would be a nice interaction, and maybe in addition to funding the Quantum Error project, a new IP could also come out exclusively for PS5. And then they started rocking jamming. So it's a big contrast from, wow, be careful or Microsoft might buy you. You can't buy for what isn't for sale. And then rock on, dudes, we're definitely up for being bought right now. So that's kind of like where we're at right now. So they lied about the SSD. They've basically said that in order to get it to work on Xbox, they have to degrade the game. So at this point, I don't understand why they don't actually just outright cancel the Xbox version. They clearly have no intention or desire to make it. They have insulted the player base. They've insulted the platform. Like, why even go there? PS5 will definitely be the way to experience Quantum Error, even though it actually would load faster, which means play better on PC. They are saying the PS5 version will be the definite way. Again, a whole bunch of PR bullshit. I say this because I actually really had high hopes for this developer. I saw a lot of red flags, which I was mentioning to my friend Panthorium on Twitter, but he's so head over heels about these guys, he can't really see it. But to me, that was like really, really bad what I was seeing. And despite raising those issues, even with the devs, they completely ignored me. They were only looking at the stuff that favored PlayStation. So you can clearly see that they have a bias for that. And I'm okay with that, right? It doesn't bother me where they make their games. I just want the best possible version of the game to play. And for me right now, the developers are lying, because the best possible version of the game to play would have been PC because it loads faster. And considering what they said was one of the boss battles, the actual arena changes in mid-fight 4 or 5 times. Think of it like a Medium, how that worked. Something like that. But they were saying that that's not possible on Xbox, even though Medium was. Maybe they're going to do something different. Maybe they're going to do something like the way Ratchet & Clank was working. But in the end, it's kind of sad the way they're actually going about this and simping on one side. If you're going to do that, just make it exclusive. Like, do you expect Xbox gamers to actually go out of their way after you've just insulted their platform, insulted their intelligence, and if you're going to go on that sword, die by that sword. Do you know what I mean? Some indie devs are desperate for attention for their games, so much so that they jump on the console warring, all this capping, and Sony fans still won't buy their game. I mean, I expect the game to sell somewhat, but I don't think it's going to, sell the million that they're waiting for. It's sad. PS5 will definitely be the way to experience Quantum Error. Absolutely not the correct way to market your game on multiple platforms. It's basically saying, hey, we're going to release this game on every platform, but they're going to be absolutely dog shit. If you want to play it the best, you play it on the PS5, which we love. Our baby. I mean, if you're going to go that far, for God's sake, just say that it's a PS5 exclusive and move on. Why do you have to go down the road to console war? You're a developer. It's pathetic. And then, after a few days of them being completely trashed on their social media for their ways, and people started going through their social media, bringing up information about, issues that they were having, and basically, finding retweets where people were basically console warring in their tweets, and they were retweeting the ones that were pro PlayStation and ignoring the ones that were pro Xbox. You can clearly see the bias, right? Even Jez Corden over here says console war as a marketing strategy. Let's see if it pays off. And I just don't think it's going to pay off. If I was the Xbox community, as a way to show my dissatisfaction, I would just not buy this outright. I would make sure that the game on Xbox at least just didn't sell. And then they would understand that if you're going to simp on one side, there are consequences. As a publisher, as a developer, you want your games to sell no matter what. You shouldn't have any allegiance. And well, after all this backlash, is, as we see here, didn't work for me. The various tweets put me right off, to be honest. They were horrible. Well, they've come out with this. We want to set the record straight. The answering a question honestly was in no way us bashing Xbox for anything. You basically said the SSD was slow, right? They said the SSD was slow. We've proven here that it is not slow. With direct storage activated, the Series X is more than capable of, keeping up with the PS5's SSD. More than capable. So, lie number one. All we did was point out that the current issue that we have come across and that we will have to spend more time to fix it. There is nothing to fix there. You just didn't want to develop for the Xbox platform. You've clearly wanted, as I say, where is it? Right here. Can't buy what isn't for sale. Rock on, dudes. We want to be bought by PlayStation. That's exactly what they wanted. So now that they've actually been called out for it, and now this has begun, the way they didn't want it to go, the narrative has gone quite south. Now they've come out with this apology. A different platform may require different solutions. Nothing wrong with that. There is no different solutions. Direct storage would have solved your problem if you really wanted to go down that way. We will not release the Xbox version until it is ready and want Xbox fans to be able to enjoy the game experience and quality as much as PS5 fans. No. That is not what you're saying. You are saying that you want everyone to buy it on PlayStation 5 because that is your preferred platform and that is your preferred publisher of choice. In fact, you've gone so far as saying that if you had a choice between being bought by Microsoft or Sony, Microsoft, you're not for sale. Sony, you can buy the company for free. We are giving it to you on the plate. Come buy us. If there isn't a more biased publisher than this, let me know. Or developer than this, let me know. Because, I don't know. To me, this doesn't sit well. I'm okay with them turning around and saying this game is PlayStation exclusive. We only have skills that, we're a 4-man team. We've developed this game for PlayStation. We don't really have the resources unless someone decides to provide us with some additional resourcing to so we can make the other versions. But as we are a 4-man team, we can't do this. But instead, what they've chosen to do is simp on PlayStation, completely bash the Xbox through their various retweets supporting the console war methodology, and then actually go out themselves and console war themselves by saying that the reason this game is coming out first on PlayStation is because the SSD on Xbox is too slow. But we've already proven that it's not too slow because all they had to do was enable direct storage. And by enabling direct storage, it would be on par. So clearly this lie is not going to age well, and I wish them the best of luck. Also, the gameplay footage being thrown around is 2 years old. The gameplay footage being shown has the AI worse than Redfall at the moment. So that's the only one that we've seen. So that's all people have to go by. Forget about the graphics. But the actual AI is worse than Redfall. They just stand there shooting or not shooting and getting killed. Even when you're shooting them, they just stand there. I guess you can't really get worse than Redfall launch because they pretty much did exactly the same. So I'll retract that a little bit. But you get the point I'm trying to make. There's no need for this. There's absolutely no need for this. And the way they've gone around and handled this, in my opinion, is just honestly embarrassing. And I wish them the best of luck. They're a 4-man team. They've invested their heart and soul into this game, and they clearly want to be bought by PlayStation. They want to be a PlayStation studio, and I hope Sony sees it and decides to take them under its wing. And maybe we can actually see some cool games coming from the studio. The one game they released before got a lukewarm 6 out of 10 with one critic review. Only one, and that was from 2018 or 19, I think. So, no one even bothered to review their previous game. So I'm hoping this one has a little bit more of attraction, especially now that it's on PS5. But yeah, it's kind of sad. It's really sad to see, I get common folk console warring amongst themselves for clout. But to use it as a marketing stunt, as a PR stunt by a developer, it doesn't sit well with me. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and let's have that discussion. And I'll see you in the next one. Remain legend.